Interim management, for me, I think is the opportunity to step into a business when it's short of a particular level of skills. That might be because it's going through major change, perhaps a merger, an acquisition, or maybe even a demerger or a downsizing. And they need a level of expertise that's over and above the norm for them. So there's a period of rapid change and transformation that I can help bring to them in as short a period of time as we can, and then ensure the HR function's kind of fit for purpose to carry on with business as usual once that change has taken place.
So give me some of these specific examples of your life as an interim.
Well, I remember one contract with a new entrant to the healthcare market. This was venture capital funded. They had contracts with the National Health Service that would allow them to grow to 2,000 employees, something like 150 million turnover over a 2-year period. But when I joined, there were 5 employees plus the original investors. So that planned the initial HR strategy. How were we going to manage the growth of people through that first 2-year phase?
Tell me just how wide a range of interims there are.
Any role you can imagine that would be a permanent fixture in an organisation can also be done by an interim and done successfully. I've come across interim managing directors, CEOs, chief financial officers. So I don't think there's a limit. I think the key issue is to be able to buy in the skills that you want, but only for the period that you need it. A company would require an interim when they have lost somebody, perhaps suddenly, or when they're going through a major change in the organisation, where there's a major change in their industry model, for example, during a merger and acquisition, perhaps even as simple as replacing somebody who's going on maternity leave.
And when would you say is the right time to appoint an interim manager over, say, a management consultant?
Well, there's a cost issue. Management consultants are frequently up to twice the price or more. I believe also there's something around the attachment to the business. I've never pretended I've been anything other than a wandering minstrel, in a sense. And yet I've managed to create some kind of emotional connection between me and the business I'm working with. And I'm proud to have left most of the assignments I've had with people saying, I didn't know he was an interim. And frequently what you'll find with consultants is lots of research, lots of advice, lots of papers about what the company needs to do next. But sometimes the company needs somebody to roll their sleeves up and just do it. And that's more often the mark of the interim.
There must be some risks. You know, there is a chance that you will go into a company as an interim, that there'll be some resentment from the workforce knowing that a high-paid member is about to join them. He'll come in effectively and then disappear after 6 months or a year, fly off into the sunset, claiming all the glory.
Yes, I think the problem for addressing the permanent team that's there is to develop very quickly a relationship where they're going to benefit from the experience as well. That's not always easy to do, but I think if you've got the rapport building skills and you recognize that I take in a whole pile of experience they don't have and some nous and knowledge that's specific that they don't have, and I'm going to share that with them during the time that I'm there. And whatever happens after I've gone, I'm hoping they'll understand, they'll know more, and they'll be better at their jobs as a result of the time that I've been there. What happens after that is entirely up to them. The potential risk for the business itself, I guess, is making the wrong choice of interim. There are a lot of people who simply are unemployed and therefore looking for an income. And the reality is they're looking for a permanent role. And guess what? As soon as one comes along, they'll be much more prepared to jump ship. And that can leave the client business in a very difficult position.
You give me the impression that you're someone who brings a high level of energy to any particular role that you fulfill. And with that energy becomes an enthusiasm as well. But if you are able to pick out one assignment which has been particularly successful for you, what would that be?
I have high hopes for the organisation I'm working with now, because what I love is the fact that it's not a cheap investment for them to make as a medium-sized business, but they're so enthusiastic to get high-quality HR strategy into their business thinking. They've welcomed me, they've introduced me to the board, I play a full part with the way business decisions are made, and I'm coaching the directors as they go through, as well as looking specifically at the HR issues. So that has all the early hallmarks of being a great success, and I hope it carries on like that.